That nut is really stuck on there. I'm going to get one of my impact wrenches out and try taking it off with that. In the meantime, I've put some penetrating oil onto the nut and onto the threads that are holding it in. So I'll let that sit until tomorrow and then give it another go. That's one of the problems of working on a 40-year-old truck. Sometimes you have to wait. Maybe longer than you want to. Definitely longer than I want to. I just want to get this done. Well, I'm ready to take the next step in getting this steering wheel off. I have an impact wrench that I'm going to use. And just like that, the nut's off. Well, I have the nut off. It's time to put a puller on it and see if I can get that rest of the steering wheel off. Now the puller to pull the steering wheel off. All I need to do is start cranking it down. Hey friends, you're watching BrainStorm Acres. I'm Henry. Irene's behind the camera. We spent the last several days moving first concrete block from our neighbors that he gave us for free. We got about 100 to 120 block, which is about $300 worth of concrete block. And then he also gave us a bunch of 2x4s, 2x6s, and OSB, orange strand board. Free because we could take it. That meant he didn't have to burn it. It's perfectly good wood. There's no reason to have it burned or hauled off to the dump. So we spent several days hauling stuff and stacking it. Well, today I'm going to finally get around to cutting up some bananas for the freeze dryer. There's several different ways that you could go about cutting up bananas. If you have some decent knife skills, you can cut them up with a kitchen knife. That works fine, it's not a problem. And one of the things I do before I actually start cutting them up and putting them on the trays is I'll cut a piece off. I taste it. The reason why I do that is if the banana is starting to taste off, the freeze-dried bananas will taste off. I let the bananas start to turn color. So there's some brown spots on the bananas, and that's a sign that the banana's gotten ripe. Now, I could go ahead and I could cut them up like that, which works pretty well. Then you have to handle them again, putting them over here on the tray. But there's another way you could do this. You can use a banana slicer. These are pretty cheap. I think they're about $9 or $10. But every time you squeeze it, you cut 5 or 6 pieces of banana. Now they're not all going to be exactly perfect because the banana curves. If the banana were straight, they'd be cut perfect. If I weren't talking, this would go faster, but as you can see, it's a pretty fast process. I can put about 3 sliced bananas on a tray. I do try to make them be placed in a reasonable arrangement on the tray because I want to have as many pieces go into the freeze dryer at one time as I can. Arranging the bananas actually takes more time than cutting them. Well, that's one banana. And when I'm processing food like this, I'm going to break off the banana that has some discoloration on it because I know from past experience that it's not going to freeze dry very well. I could do this faster. Now I have 2 bananas all cut up. You don't have to wear food handling gloves if you don't want to, if you're doing it for yourself. If you're making food like this for other people, you do want to use food handling gloves. They're not very expensive, and it does keep anything that you might have on your hands from getting onto your food, in this case bananas. Well, the other reason to wear food handling gloves is because bananas really get gushy sometimes, especially when you wait for them to get dead ripe, which is what I've done here. And that means you end up with banana on your hands, which is okay, but I prefer to be able to just pull these gloves off and be done with it. One more banana to go. Fast and easy. I'll just finish arranging these bananas on the tray. I'm not going to overlap too much. I will overlap a little bit if I need to. This is a total of 3 large bananas. And as you can see, I have a lot of banana slices here. You don't have to worry if there's overlap because the pieces will separate once they're freeze dried. Now what I normally do is I put a piece of parchment in between the bananas so that I can freeze them and then break them out separately. Now sometimes, especially if the bananas are really ripe, they don't separate out from the parchment paper, so I just put that in the freeze dryer the way it is. Pretty short work to slice up bananas. You can find tools, like I say, a knife. If you don't want to spend the $9 or $10 for a banana slicer, but the banana slicer works very well. There's all kinds of other food that you can freeze dry where there's other time-saving tools available. It's a matter of looking around and finding something. But some of the tools that are specific for freeze drying are very expensive. So look for alternatives to, oh, there goes Rufus. Look for alternatives to get the job done. You sure don't want to be spending hours sticking a pin through every single blueberry in order to freeze blueberries, but you also don't want to be spending $200 for a roller that has pins in it. Well, thanks for watching. We've had a really busy 3 or 4 days here. Finally got a chance to get these bananas sliced up. which is good. They're going to go in the freezer. We have another complete batch of food freeze drying right now in the pantry. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications, because we're going to be doing a lot more stuff. Not all of it's freeze drying. Some of it's busy moving things from neighbors who give it to us for free that are useful. And one of the things you have to do is really pay attention to, is this thing you're getting actually usable by yourself or a friend? If it isn't, you have to really think about whether you want to do that. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. There's a lot more coming. Hey, don't forget to brainstorm. Rufus is.